Buenos dias, I'm Jamili Habib, MeToo's editor-in-chief, and here's all the information you need to know before starting your day. In politics, the Senate confirmed Todd Blanche as U.S. Attorney General early Saturday morning, 50-49. Blanche is Trump's former personal attorney, the lawyer who defended him in the hush money case, the classified documents case, and the 2020 election case. Every Democrat voted against him, along with Republican Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Under his leadership, the Justice Department has already charged former FBI Director James Comey over a photo of seashells and charged the Southern Poverty Law Center over payments to informants, according to NPR. On voting rights, the Trump administration has now lost 21 straight court battles in its effort to access state voter rolls ahead of the November midterms, according to Reuters. The administration claims it needs the records to identify non-citizen voters, even though a Reuters investigation found that only 129 people have been prosecuted for non-citizen voting since 1996. On immigration, ICE will complete its body camera rollout to all field officers by the end of August, ahead of schedule. The move follows fatal shootings at traffic stops in Maine and Texas last month that sparked protests over agents' lack of cameras. And the good news. Look up on Wednesday. A solar eclipse is happening, and the northern parts of the U.S., from Alaska to North Carolina, will see a partial eclipse. Spain will see its first total eclipse visible from the mainland since 1905. If you watch, you need eclipse glasses. Regular sunglasses will not protect your eyes, according to the American Academy of Ophthalmology. And now, let's dive into some stories you probably won't hear about elsewhere.
Happy Monday, MeToo fam. It's Lau here. And I don't want to say I told you so, because technically I didn't tell you so, but if you remember a couple weeks ago in one of our first episodes, I talked about Kalshi and prediction markets and how I was feeling conflicted about the way they were advertising during Love Island and the World Cup. Well, New York apparently has some questions too. Earlier this month, the state filed a massive lawsuit against Kalshi, accusing the company of operating an illegal, unlicensed gambling business. Strong words. And this is not a small company. Kalshi has reported a $22 billion valuation and about $178 billion in annualized transaction volume. Now, New York is reportedly seeking at least $36 billion in penalties. Kalshi's argument is that it's not a sports book. It says these are federally regulated event contracts where people trade on the outcome of real-world events. But New York's argument is basically, look, if you're putting money on whether something happens, especially who wins in a sporting event, you can call it whatever you want, but it still sounds a whole lot like betting. Now, states going after betting companies isn't exactly unheard of, so this lawsuit alone doesn't mean everything is going to change ASAP. The real question is whether anything actually comes from it and whether it changes how prediction markets are regulated or marketed moving forward. I'm not so sure about that, but we'll stay pendiente to see how this continues to unfold.
What is up, MeToo fam? This is Joel. Have you guys heard of the one car challenge happening in LA? It might sound simple, but it's becoming one of LA's biggest social experiments. The idea is exactly what it sounds like. Households try to live with just one car instead of two, or even go completely car-free. With gas prices, insurance, parking, and maintenance continuing to climb, many Angelinos are realizing that owning multiple vehicles can cost thousands of dollars every single year. But let's be real. This is LA, a city that's built around cars. Long commutes, limited transit in some neighborhoods, and endless traffic can make this challenge a lot harder than it sounds. While some people are thriving, others say that this only works if you live near a metro line or have a flexible schedule. Now here's the exciting part. LA Metro is expanding the one-car challenge across all of LA County this summer. Around 2,000 households will be selected to participate, and if chosen, you'll keep at least one household car parked for 5 weeks. Use other ways to get around, and you can earn up to $600 for completing this challenge. So could you do it? Would you trade one car for $600 and a chance to rethink how you get around LA? If so, head to the LA Metro One Car Challenge website before registration fills up. Good luck.
I know the news cycle is all over the place, and I also know that we have enough to worry about here to be paying attention to what's going on elsewhere in the world. However, I need to talk to you about something happening right now across Latin America. The speed of it is staggering. While our news cycle moves on to the next thing, the United States has executed the most aggressive geopolitical takeover of a region since the Cold War. And unlike the 1960s and 70s, when the interference was covert, CIA-backed coups and proxy wars and operations no one admitted to, this time it is completely in the open. Let's start with a map. Argentina's Javier Milei, Chile's José Antonio Cast, Colombia's newly inaugurated Abelardo de la Espriella, Ecuador's Daniel Noboa. The right-wing sweep in Latin America has handed the US a row of ideologically aligned governments. After all, we all know that when the US sneezes, the world catches a cold, right? In Colombia, for example, Trump openly supported de la Espriella against the left in the presidential runoff. In Honduras, he threatened to cut U.S. aid if the left won in November 2025. The candidate he backed obviously won. Then in January of this year, U.S. forces captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro in Operation Absolute Resolve under the argument of regime change. Instead, Washington just allied itself with the Chavista regime and took over Venezuela's oil industry. Since September 2025, the U.S. has conducted 63 airstrikes in the Caribbean and Pacific, killing more than 200 people. One of those strikes hit a dairy farm in Ecuador that Washington thought was a drug camp. 4 farm workers were reportedly tortured by the Ecuadorian military afterward. 17 countries attended the Shield of the Americas summit, a US-led military coalition. Panama's ports were transferred away from a Hong Kong company. Paraguay signed a nuclear deal with Washington this week. Brazil's ambassador had her visa revoked, and Mexico's Claudia Sheinbaum, one of the only leaders still pushing back, has strongly accused the United States of meddling in Mexico's internal affairs. However, she's had to quietly accept US deportation flights to ease tensions with Washington. They used to do this in the dark. Now they're doing it in broad daylight. We have always known that the US treated Latin America as its backyard. But what is happening right now is not the backyard. This is the house, and the locks are being changed.